Hi there, my name is Jack Wallen, and I have a topic that is very near and dear to my overstuffed heart. And hopefully it'll be a topic that those of you out there will want to hear about, want to learn about, want to be able to employ into your lives. The topic at hand is called the care and feeding of artists. I know exactly what you're thinking. Oy vey, these artists, they're so sensitive. Okay, that may be true. It is for me, and it is for a lot of artists I know. But what I want to talk about today is the why. Why are we like this? You may be, or you probably know people who consider themselves empaths. Empaths tend to take on the feelings, or at least are dramatically affected by the feelings of others. Empaths tend to take on those feelings. If you're an empath and you're with somebody who is hurting, you will hurt. It's just the way those people are wired. It's the way I'm wired. It's the way my wife is wired. It's the way a lot of people I know are wired. And the way I see it is empaths are generally pretty good people. Generally. I mean, of course, there are probably really bad empaths out there, but who knows? But here's the deal. Most of the true artists that I know are more than just empaths. They're what I call hyper empaths. What do I mean by that? Okay, first and foremost, that is not an official term that I know of. It's just something that I made up. And here's what I mean by that. Whereas empaths inadvertently take on the emotional states of other people, hyper empaths seek it out. Not in some sort of parasitic way. Hyper empaths are constantly, especially of the artistic bent, are constantly looking for inspiration. I know that it sounds awful. It sounds awful when I say it, when it comes out of my mouth. It makes me think that these hyper empathic people are just looking, they're like vampires. They're looking to suck any emotion or any inspiration they can find, but that's not the case. Okay, so when I was in graduate school, I blame a lot of things in my life on graduate school, and I don't mean bad things, the good things. There's a reason for that. But when I was in graduate school, we were trained, especially by one particular teacher who became my mentor and role model. We were trained to open ourselves up and allow ourselves to be affected by everything in 360 degrees. As artists, especially as actors, we were trained to be on the lookout with our eyes, our ears, our hearts, our souls, our bodies, for anything that could serve as an inspiration. And it stuck. It stuck. So I can step outside of my home and be absolutely inundated with things that inspire me, emotionally, mentally, physically, you name it. Here's a great example. One day a few years ago, I was going on a run through this suburban area near my home. And in the distance, literally what I saw, was this strange sprinkler. And it wasn't just one of those sprinklers that did this. I have a feeling it might have been some sort of child's toy, because it was all these tall fingers of water that were moving about. And when I saw them, I immediately thought I was looking at liquid dreadlocks. And then this scenario came into my mind of this giant that was coming up out of the ground, and he had water for hair, and his hair was just moving and moving and moving, and he was angry about something. All of that from a sprinkler. You see, we artists, most artists, true artists, are wired to be constantly on alert for anything that inspires us. And when something inspires us, it's consuming. I have, on occasion, been out and about doing something, and I've had either something I see or hear inspire me in such a way that the only thing I could do was whip out my phone and take some notes. And then, because that wasn't enough, I had to stand there and feel it. Because I needed to know. I needed to know what was going on inside of me and how what I saw affected me. And I had to let it live in there. Because if I didn't let it live inside of me, I wouldn't be able to draw out the core of what I needed for that. And this isn't something, I mean, at this point in my life, this isn't something that I actively do. It just happens to me. I'll be watching a television show with my wife, and I'll see a scene will happen, or a character will say something, or just make the simple movement. And from that simple thing, an entire story explodes in my head. And for that moment, I'm gone. I am absolutely lost trying to develop this thing. Because I know that if I don't spend the mental and emotional energy developing whatever it was that inspired me, I'm going to lose it. And it could be, and here's the kicker, it could be, my brain tells me, this could be the one. This could be the greatest thing you've ever written or acted or whatever. And if you don't spend the time fleshing that out in your mind and your heart and your soul right then and there, it'll be gone. Like a wisp of smoke, it'll be gone. So there's times when I'm going about my business and you can see it in my face, I just vanish. We used to call this, when I was in undergraduate school, we used to call this going to Alaska, because I would just be gone. And everybody around me would know that they could not reach me until I came back from whatever it was that took me away. It's strange, I know, but that's who I am. And I know there are other people out there, other artists out there that are like me. And we can't help it. It's almost as if we have this other set of metaphorical eyes, like a third eye. And at some point in our life, it is opened. And once it's opened, it cannot close. And with that third eye open, we see and feel and hear things at such a level that we can't control it. It takes us away for a moment. We're gone. Whatever it is we're working on while we're gone, it happens in our heads, and then we come back. Hopefully when we come back, we have worked it all out, and that inspiration actually turns into something that we can create. I know to some people, this is something that's an annoyance, a problem. It is a problem that needs a solution. But you know what? It doesn't. It really doesn't. Because for artists, that thing is our lifeblood to our creativity. If we didn't have that, if we weren't hyper empathic, we wouldn't be able to create. I need to be able to walk outside or watch something on television or hear a song and be able to get absolutely lost in it to the point where I'm almost unresponsive, so I can either visualize what it is that I need to use from that inspiration, or mentally walk through it Sometimes it's just a matter of me, I get this inspiration and I just have to come up with a sentence or a paragraph or sometimes just a word that serves as a bridge between that inspiration and what I need to create. So, for those of you who aren't artists, who have artists in your life, when those people that you love or care for or like or whatever, when you see them vanish, or when they're just acting a little strange, you might want to just say, hey, is this you doing your creative thing? And if they nod or say yes, you just go about your business and know that it's not about you, or it's not something that you did. It's just them being them being their creative self, them honoring their creativity, them working their craft. It should not be looked at as a weakness or a problem. It's just a thing that we experience. Sometimes it gets in the way. I have had moments where I'm supposed to be doing something important. I get hit by this inspiration and I know that I have got to give it the attention that it demands, because otherwise I will lose this thread of thought. So I do that, and then when I'm done, what happened? I know it sounds crazy. And to some people it might sound like I'm making up excuses for me to just be able to mentally and emotionally vanish for a bit. I'm not. Trust me, if I could do what I do and not have to rely on this going to Alaska, I would do it. But this is just who I am. And this is how and why my creativity has not in the slightest waned over the years. In fact, I am more creative now than I've ever been. And part of it is because I welcome that hyper-empathic state. I encourage it. Sometimes I'll go outside and I'll be like, okay, inspiration, where are you? I open up my eyes and my heart and my mind and my soul, and I know that it's going to hit me. Call us crazy, call us weird, call us whatever you want. Ultimately, the best thing you can call us is artists, because that's what we are. And if you care and feed us well, our creativity will blossom like you've never seen before. Thank you very, very much for giving me a little bit of time, because I know that time is precious. And if you know an artist or someone who has to deal with artists and they're having problems, share this with them. Hopefully what it'll do is at least help them to understand what it is that their artistic friends and loved ones go through, so that they may be able to better prepare themselves to deal with it. Thank you very much, and have a good day.